Welcome to Are We the Only Ones? I'm Kathy, and today, here are the quick tidbits of news. Vote. Early voting has begun. So far it looks really good, but still, please go vote today. If you're in New York, vote for Mamdani. And if you are in California, vote yes on Prop 50. Please don't forget to go vote. You have until the end of tomorrow, Tuesday, November 4th. Please check your local polling station. And don't forget to go out there and vote, and remind everybody too. Okay, in other news, AOC wants a Shinkansen. AOC has visited Japan and realized that the bullet trains are amazing and run efficiently and very much help the infrastructure there. And so she's now advocating for Japanese bullet trains, which are also known as Shinkansen, to come to America. And I'm an advocate for that because I lived in Japan for 3 years and got to enjoy the benefits of the Shinkansen. I'm gonna tell you, it's extremely great. It's basically like flying on a plane, but you don't have to do the security check-in like 2 hours early. You don't have to do any of that. And it's super clean. You can eat on there. If you do it the way the Japanese do it, you can have some very good drink and food service on there. Super smooth. Been on a bullet train also in Shanghai. That was, I believe, faster than the Japanese Shinkansen trains. Also very good. So I do believe that it is strange to be in the United States and to have all this rhetoric that we're like the best and we know how to do all these things and we're so much better. And then you go to these other countries that are supposedly third world countries and they have the fastest bullet trains, the most, like, obviously Japan's not a third world country, but like you have like China, which we always looked at as like, oh, this is like country that's nowhere near as good as the United States. And then when you actually go there, their buildings are super tall. They have a lot of like good electronic tech. So like if you're using like electronic faucets, if you know, like when you go to America and you have a faucet that's like a censored faucet, sometimes you're like standing there going, but in Japan and in China, they work immediately. They work. So when it comes to doing bullet trains, I definitely agree that Japanese have it down. And if we were going to get bullet trains, we should definitely do it using their system. And I actually, personal experience, happened to have helped introduce the maglev conversation back when I used to work in traffic engineering. And I happened to take Japanese at the time. So I was meeting with Japanese engineers that had flown from Japan to go talk to a maglev expert, and I actually got to like speak Japanese to them and serve them tea and everything like that. So this conversation about the maglev trains and bullet trains and Shinkansen trains has been going on for, I graduated in college in 2000, so it's been going on for a long time. But if we have people like AOC that actually want to get behind it, and I think also experienced it firsthand, once you experience these things firsthand, you can't understand how in America we don't have it. So that is something that I'm very, very excited about. Another piece of news that I found interesting was that cabinet members Hegseth, Noam, and Stephen Miller are all living on base housing. I believe Marco Rubio might also be living on base housing, but the main thing is that that's not normal. As someone who was part of the military family for 9 years, I was confirming with my husband, like, is this something that I've never heard? This doesn't seem like normal. Is this normal that a cabinet member would live on base? And he was like, no, this is not something that would happen at all. And the reason that they're living on base housing is because they are scared of protesters going to their house. And so they decided to live on base where they definitely won't be protested against, because it's illegal for military to protest when they're active. And, or even speak negatively about their leaders. So you won't ever hear an active military person speaking negatively about the people in charge at the time. So they're not supposed to be safe on a base. But I can only imagine, like, after living, I never stayed on base. When we lived in Japan and we were with Air Station Iwakuni, which is a United States Marine Corps air station, I can't imagine having cabinet level members living on base, because the logistics of that on the base, there'd be like traffic issues, there'd be security, you'd have to like close off like streets and stuff. It would be such a nightmare. So I'm imagining they're probably on Quantico, like, oh, that's in DC. That would be so what a pain. Oh my God, that would be such a pain. Anyway, who's paying for that? Are we paying for that? Because they shouldn't have to. We shouldn't have to pay for them to stay on base housing if they already have homes. Similar to like that police chief in Millbrae, which is in in San Francisco area, Silicon Valley area. There's a suburb called Millbrae where the police chief lives in, I believe, Dublin, Idaho, or Dublin, Ohio. And so if that's an issue now also having, you can relate it directly to them also. Like, they have their own housing. Why are they living somewhere else? Why would we be paying for it? Is this fraud, waste, and abuse? I mean, I definitely think it would be one of those situations where it doesn't make sense where we're paying for something like that is not necessary. And it's the First Amendment. They shouldn't have to hide. If they're telling us that the Second Amendment is fine to have to just live without any fear of that, then they should be able to live without fear with the First Amendment. It's just words, just freedom of speech, just peaceful protest. Man up. Okay. So I saw this clip recently. Donald Trump was asked about Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. What did he think about the royal family and the situation with Andrew Mountbatten Windsor? And he said he was sad for the royal family. He just felt bad for them. And my analysis of that was that he felt like they're the victims of the situation, maybe because he knew Andrew on a much more personal level. And so maybe he can relate to them more. Maybe he understands more because he would be on that same side of it. But the fact that he was so tone deaf and didn't understand what he was saying on camera with CNN discussing this, like, it was like the victims were not on his mind. He did not seem to think about it. Not even a thought was something that I took away from that interview that CNN did with Trump. It was very strange. And then on top of that, one other thing that I had recently seen was this interview with Andrew Mountbatten Windsor's royal biographer, who said that Andrew, when he was 11 years old, was taken to a brothel by a friend's father, and that might be an explanation of why he is the way he is. And so I thought that was a very interesting piece of information that gives you more context. I don't know that, I know there's a lot of people that are victims that don't do things like that. So, but it does provide context and understand, where did this come from, right? And my last tidbit of news before I sign off. No judgment, okay, guys? I'm just saying. I'm an advocate because I love women's empowerment. And if you're a woman and you can make money, I'm for it. And if you're morally into it and you don't have a problem with it, nobody's forcing you to do it, and it's totally consensual, more power to you. More power to you for sure. Okay, so OnlyFans has beat Apple and Nvidia to become the most revenue efficient company, making $37.6 million per employee. I believe I read that OnlyFans only has 37 employees, so that also helps why it's this very massive company that doesn't have a big staff and payroll, so that also helps with their efficiency. But dang, that's good efficiency. I'm just saying. I mean, if you're just from a capitalistic perspective, don't hate the player, hate the game. It's, I'm sure I know a man probably owns OnlyFans, but, all the women that are making money on there, more power to you. Okay, so tell me what you think. Don't forget to subscribe at Substack, and feel free to follow on TikTok at Are We the Only Ones Pod. And comment, say what's up, let me know your thoughts on any of these topics, and join the conversation. The TikTok conversation has been a lot of fun. Thank you for everybody that's been commenting over there. It's been awesome. All right, until next time.